Men and women, we're very different from what we think, how we express ourselves, what our expectations are, especially when it comes to marriage. But what if those expectations or things we believe are different as well, especially when they come to myths? Well, before I get into all that, let me welcome you back to my channel. My name is Ayanna, and this is Beyond Committed, where we talk about everything from life, faith, family, marriage, motherhood, and everything in between, and we take them beyond. If this is your first time here, welcome, and I'm so glad you stopped by. And to make sure you're not a stranger, make sure you press that subscribe button below and then turn your notifications so you don't miss a video. All right, now let's dive right in. So I've talked before about different marriage myths we believe. And if you missed that video, make sure you check the link at the end of this video. And while I was thinking about that video and rewatching it myself, I started to think, well, what if my myths that I think were different from my husband, or different from men in general? So I decided to invite my husband Eric here to kind of share some myths that some men believed and some that he actually believed before we got married.
Yeah, thanks for that. So I would say one of the first myths is the old adage of the ball and chain. In other words, right, you going into that lockdown, clank, clank, no freedom. You can't go nowhere, can't do nothing. Where you going, coming, etc. all day, all night. I would say there's not really truth to that. The reality is that whole myth or concept is really fundamentally built around trust, right? And so in the capacity of your individual relationship, do you have enough trust between you and your spouse such that you can continue to operate as the independent being that God created you to be? I think one of the key things for us in our marriage, especially early on, for me with work, I traveled a lot. I was gone half the time. So if it was a ball and chain type of situation, that would have been impossible because she couldn't go where I was going and do what I was doing in the nature of the meetings and travel, etc. So fundamentally, either she trusted me or she didn't. And, vice versa. When I'm on the road, the trust that everything is in order and straight back at home. So, that's my take on the ball and chain myth.
And I also feel that, I don't want to be where he is all the time. We're two totally different individuals and we like different things. And although we like to go places together, and there were some times when he had business meetings and I either wasn't working or could get someone to watch the kids, that I did go and we had fun. But for the most part, it's like I liked him doing his thing. I like to do my thing. I hang out with my girlfriends. I do different things for myself, just by myself. And it just gives me like the freedom, and I want him to have the freedom to just do him and be him, and us to just enjoy life together. So I don't want to be a ball and chain to him, and I hope he wouldn't want to be a ball and chain to me.
Yeah, in theory, right, it could go both ways. That is true. All right, so another myth, that I'd like to highlight is just this notion of servitude, that your wife would just simply be there for you on hand and foot, whatever you need, you want, that whole imagination of waking up in the morning, how you like your eggs, Big Daddy, or something to the effect of, where's my dinner? It's this time of day and I'm waiting, and I told you I didn't like this and I wanted that, and all of this kind of silliness. That's just not reality in the context of a relationship and how it works. And, I would say for the most part, you do serve one another, but it isn't one way, and nobody lords over someone else, within the relationship.
And I would say that serving is a blessing. It's an act of service. It's a way to show love. And there are certain times a day that we eat just because it works like that for our schedule. But if we get out of whack, he's not like, 6 o'clock was dinner time, where's the food? And if we don't feel like eating something, or like I don't feel like cooking, I'm like, okay, today it's 5 o'clock and I'm just not feeling it. And he'll be like, okay, well, do we need to order pizza? Are there leftovers? It's a way for us to love on each other and serve each other well, not of obligation, but out of love.
Yeah. And I think for the most part, in that context, it is what it is. But, serving one another is a positive thing. But, I think sometimes the perceptions going into marriage can be off. So one of the last myths that I would like to highlight is this notion of endless intimacy. right? That your wife is here to fulfill all your fantasies, everything your heart's desired, everything you thought of. Here she is. You finally said I do, and whatever you need, whatever you want. And the reality is that's just not the case, you know. I think ultimately what it boils down to is kind of your pursuit of her. You know, when you think back to the beginning of your relationship and when you were dating and everything was fresh and new and all of those things that created this kind of drawing or connection, if you will, that would bring you guys together. I think, you know, as you progress within your relationship and your marriage, you have competing priorities, you know, whatever the demands you may have career-wise, ministry, parenting with your kids, their activities, etc. And so when you think about just kind of the energy that is involved and how you spread that out for yourself as an individual, but also for your wife, it really doesn't leave too much room for this whole endless, you know, escapade. You know what I'm saying? It's not reality, but.
Yeah. But I would also like add is that I don't think it's about the intimacy. I think it's about, like, let's be honest, the sex. Because you can be intimate throughout the day without having to do any physical acts. So I think that's where we also get caught up. And I think that's also a myth. Some of us believe that intimacy and sex are the same. And they're not. And I think that's where we kind of get caught up in, okay, well, she should be available and she should just turn all these kind of tricks and flips and all that all the time. And although that is cool, and when you do and how you do them, it's all on you, boo. And if y'all both like it, I love it. But we have to be mindful of each other and what our wants and needs are. And like things change, your priorities change, your like availability changes. So making sure that you keep that spice, you stay intimate even when you're not physical is so important. And it's not about, okay, if we don't have sex this many times a week or this way, it's not fulfilling. No, you have to find ways to fulfill each other's needs and wants in a way that's mutually beneficial, in a way that you are truly being intimate and it's not just physical acts.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's life, you know. It's kind of like the rhythm in which you can kind of find the space, time, and energy to engage, you know, with your wife.
All right, that's it for today. And I want to know, what myths did you come into your marriage with? Was it yours? Was it your husband's? Or was it a little bit of both? I want to know about it. Let me know in the comment box below. And if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And make sure you press that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you don't miss a video. All right, until we see you again, bye.